Let's talk about Colorado Springs. People say that our city has no identity, that we're not a Denver. We have no professional sports teams, no sprawling cityscape, no celebrity sightings. Is Colorado Springs a cultural desert or something different altogether? Are we becoming a California? And now you're actually considering moving here. I've heard it all before, and so I started asking myself the same questions. And really, what does that even mean? I've seen a lot of changes over the years, and there's something that I've discovered about living in Colorado Springs that might just change the game. All right, so let's get right into it. So I've lived in Colorado Springs on and off for about 10 years. I moved here in my early 20s, and I've seen the city really transform in that time span and go through crazy growth over the last several years. So I'm gonna give you my top 7 things about Colorado Springs that really are the worst things about living here. So in no particular order, here's what's made my list. All right, so the worst things about Colorado Springs, I'm gonna say one that's kind of a little bit of a misnomer. It's not, the belief or the view is not shared from one Colorado Springs resident to the next, which is roads and traffic. I mean, I hear that all the time. People are talking about how terrible the traffic is here and how, the traffic's so bad and the Californians are coming. Honestly, no, it's not. It's not bad at all. With their stuff. It depends on what you're used to. Diets. Now, if you're coming from a small town, bad driving, where there's a few thousand people in the town, politics, and yeah, there might be some traffic. Diets. But most people are coming from some sort of a bigger city or suburb of a bigger city, right? So the traffic's not bad. I mean, my goodness, if you're out on the road, diets at 5:30 on Monday, yes, you're gonna have some traffic. I travel I-25 every single day, and if I decide to get on the I-25 at 5:30, I'm gonna sit in a little bit of traffic. It always seems like it's bottlenecks and gets slow around Fillmore, the Fillmore exit. Probably because they did that weird cross bridge thing it's kind of interesting. I don't know if it really made things worse or not, but so the traffic is not bad. You get into rush hour traffic, you are gonna sit and wait for a little bit. You're not gonna be in traffic for hours. It's not like a parking lot. There's a little bit of traffic. You wait 30 minutes and it clears up. So go have a coffee, go do something. Spend a little bit more time at work and then commute at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. There's no traffic. It's smooth. You go into other big cities where they got all these crazy bridges and overpasses and underpasses, and you look on a map and it's like this big crazy mess, this big old maze. Now that's some traffic. And people that are around that environment drive crazy. They drive fast, they tailgate you. That's not really here. I used to have a really, really fast car, and I drove really fast for a few years. And it's just a very powerful car. I missed that car a lot. I don't have that kind of car anymore. I have a Jeep now because I had to get rid of that fast car because I was driving too fast. And I realized I need to slow down. I'm driving too fast. So I got a really slow vehicle, which is a Jeep. But I don't drive fast anymore. I drive 65. Jeep culture is interesting. People are always waving at you. It's like, if I'm not having a good day, but for the most part, you wave to them. So the traffic is not crazy here whatsoever. So stop propagating that belief that the traffic's so bad. It's not bad. The Californians are coming. Next thing that has to do with weather is Colorado Springs is bipolar when it comes to weather. The weather here switches constantly. There's snow here one moment, 1 minute it's 70 degrees in December, and then, in the springtime, it's snowing. So you would think that Colorado, there's snow on the ground all the time. And in actuality, I read somewhere that I think we only get about 37 inches of snow per year. So what that translates to is, for the most part, it might snow, but after it snows, within 24 hours, it'll be melted off. I mean, the sun comes out so frequently here. We get 300 days of sunshine here. So, from one day to the next, it might be snowing, but then it'll be sunny. But with that comes basically just like a landscaping perspective. Everything here is kind of brown and sort of, gritty and not the prettiest looking. It's not like California. It's not like where it's green all the time. It's really kind of dead here all the time. I mean, in the wintertime it's dead. In the fall, obviously it's dead. It's sort of dry. It's kind of like they call it high desert. So if you know anything about like a desert climate, like a New Mexico or maybe like an Arizona, where you got a cactus and just sand, it's not like that. It's high desert. So you're gonna have more of like, scrub oak, sagebrush, rabbit's brush, just like plants that are kind of very tough, that survive and can thrive in winter climates or in very dry climates. So anything that's left out there in the landscape has pretty much gone through the test of time when it comes to our climate here. So it's nice to look at from a distance, but when you really get up close and you start walking around Colorado Springs, it's kind of a dry, arid, barren sort of look to it. I'm not gonna lie, it shocked me when I got here. People think that it's all about like, aspen trees here, and there are evergreens and aspen trees and stuff like that here, but they're off on a distance. I mean, you're gonna see, closer to you, you're gonna see more like, the pinyon trees that aren't that tall, maybe a story or two tall. You're gonna have trees and stuff here, but it's, especially during the winter time, it's pretty desolate. With that being said, the next worst thing about Colorado Springs is there is absolutely no pro teams here, no pro sports teams here. If you're a big, huge professional sports nut like I am, you're gonna get here and realize there's no sports teams here. So if you like the Dallas Cowboys or the San Francisco 49ers, you get here, you're not gonna have any sports teams here. Now, Denver has all the sports teams. They got the Denver Nuggets basketball. They got the Avalanche, the Colorado Rockies. You've got the Denver Broncos. Big time sports in Denver. Big time sports in Colorado, just not in Colorado Springs. People that are in Colorado Springs that like Denver professional sports, go to Denver. And there's a lot of diehard Denver Bronco fans here. Tons of Denver Bronco fans here. So even though we don't have a sports team here, we're big fans of Denver pro sports. So go up to see a Nuggets game, Pepsi Center, go up to see, the Denver Broncos. Let's see, we have Division II, I guess that would be considered professional soccer franchise in the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. And they just built a brand new stadium for the Switchbacks. I don't know when it was opened, very recently, I think but I haven't been to one of those games yet. I plan on doing that. I'll definitely go there, get my terrible towel, get my Switchbacks water bottle, take the kids, take the wife, and enjoy ourselves. So that's definitely, I'm looking forward to that. If you're coming from a big, huge city, you're gonna get here and realize, wow, there's no nightlife, there's no city. I don't really think there is. Even when I was here back when I was in my early 20s, I was like, there's nothing to do here. I was a bored young adult and like, there's nothing to do here. Let's go to Denver. That's what everyone wanted to do, go to Denver, right? So there's not a downtown that way here. Not a city like that here. It's a small downtown, a very modest downtown. Our city, I would describe it, Colorado Springs, as a small downtown, modest downtown surrounded by suburbs. People here are more like, more relaxed, more family oriented, slower pace. And I like that about Colorado Springs. It's a family town, family city. This is a family oriented city. There are concerts, there are venues. That's more Denver. We have some stuff here. We have things like, the Hot Air Balloon Festival. We have, all different types of marches and holiday parades, and just more family oriented. So I think that's actually really cool. To add to my list of the 7 worst things about Colorado Springs is the housing market. Our housing market is very tough here, very robust here. We are ranked in the top 10, respectfully speaking, probably even closer, but top 10 fastest growing markets in the country, which is crazy because we're stacked ranked up there with, Seattle, Chicago, the Bay Area, Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Denver is in the top 10, and we're in the top 10. So by far, out of those cities I mentioned, Colorado Springs is a little baby brother, but we're still ranked there. So that means a lot of transactions in a small, confined space, populace. of 500, let's just call it 500,000 in Colorado Springs, 750,000 in El Paso County as a whole. That just means supply and demand. There's a crazy demand here and the supply is fairly low. Builders cannot build these homes fast enough, but it comes with a price. Luckily, loan limits are continuing to go up and have been increasing a lot lately. So that's a great thing because it's keeping up with the demand because banks know that. But when it comes to actually winning the bid, getting a home, getting your offer accepted, that's tough. That's trench warfare. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's impossible. I'm gonna say it's actually very doable. But for the person that's never bought a home before, they might have to go a few rounds and realize, wow, we're not in Kansas anymore. So like I said, you just need to line yourself up with a really good realtor who isn't too busy, that is still out in the market doing real estate every single day, but has enough experience to really give you good advice and a strategy. A lot of people will psych themselves out, and this is really unfortunate. So maybe this is part of the worst about Colorado Springs is that there's so many capable, ready, willing, and able people out there that want to buy a house, that want to own their own home, and they just get all psyched out and all scared of the housing market. For instance, my buddy bought a house and he needed to spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 over asking to get the house. So they're just like, I'm gonna wait until the market cools down. I get that a lot. All realtors get that all the time. And hasn't cooled down since I've been in real estate. I would be more concerned if the real estate prices were going crazy and there was nothing else going for our city here, but we have a lot of stuff going for us here, like infrastructure, businesses. We have big time businesses here now, and they weren't as many here 10 years ago. So a lot of companies are moving here as well, and I think that's a good thing. So the market cooling down, the prices will probably be quite a bit higher in 2-3 years from now. So if anything, it's like we're consumers. As Americans, we're consumers. It's like buying something, anything you really want, guess what? It's not on the shelf. Other people have bought that thing. There's no more left. So you just have to have a very good guide that can help you navigate the terrain. Out of the 7 worst things about Colorado Springs, next we're gonna talk about ease of use. So the city is not that easy to use. In doing research for this video, stumbled across a website that had like a walkability score system where you can rate your city based on its walkability. That's what I mean by ease of use. Colorado Springs is not easy to use. If you don't have a car here, you're not getting anywhere anytime soon. You need to have a modern day car. You know, like other cities will have like bike lanes downtown, or they have electric, different things going on. They've got, light rail systems where you can get from one part of the city to the other within 15-20 minutes by a light rail type of system right? We don't really have that here. We have buses. We don't have light rail whatsoever. We don't have any green lanes for your scooters, your bikes. People aren't riding bikes all over the place. I don't really see anyone riding bikes at all. You might see somebody out in the suburbs riding a bicycle for exercise. Every now and again, I'll see that. But people here they're not into that. Now, there's mountain bikes. People do love mountain bikes. I'll see mountain bikes on a car going to a mountain. You see that here. But walkability, people aren't really walking around too much. They're commuting from the suburbs into downtown at that, or from one side of the city to another through commuting. So I hope that doesn't really get you depressed. You could be a first. Get here, just ride your bike everywhere. But just with the way that our weather is and our climate here and that volatile weather, you might get somewhere really far and then it starts snowing and you're SOL. If it starts snowing and freezing over and you got to ride a little 10 speed in miles to get home, you're taking an Uber. You're not riding your bicycle. And I think that's really where it comes from. So now if you're working, you have an office downtown and you are working downtown and you want to, walk downstairs and walk across the street to the local restaurant, local sandwich shop, that's totally cool. Everyone walks around downtown to eat, and and go to, you know, restaurants and bars and that kind of thing. So there's nothing wrong with walking, but I've been in other cities that have a lot more ease of use when it comes to getting around, even into the suburbs, than Colorado Springs. So, all right, Colorado Springs identity. Do we have an identity? Like what are we known for? Do we have an identity? And so my opinion, and this is maybe one of the, like a negative thing, negative and positive, I don't think we have an identity. I really don't. I don't think Colorado Springs is really necessarily known for anything. Necessarily, come on, like that's a harsh statement, right? So people are gonna, if you leave comments below, let me know, hey, we're known for this. I might not know, but my personal opinion is we don't really have an identity. Like maybe what I mean by identity is not like what we produce, but like a cultural identity, right? Businesses are starting to flock here now. People are coming here left and right from all over the country. A smaller, medium-sized town with kind of a small town soul. We're an Olympic city, the Olympic and Paralympic Sports Museum. I feature in, I think, almost every video. That building was designed by, don't quote me, I'm gonna probably mispronounce names, but the architectural firm Diller and Schofield. I'm gonna probably butcher that, but it's I'm pretty sure if you type in Diller and Schofield, you'll find it. I hope I didn't butcher that. Very famous architects, and they were inspired by the Guggenheim and how they designed that museum. And so you take a small, medium-sized city that doesn't have a cityscape, it's not known for anything, and you put that type of building there, I think it really speaks volume for the direction of where we're going. And we're really starting to showcase the fact that we are an Olympic city. And so I think that Colorado Springs really cares. Like our civic people, our mayor, our elected officials, people that live here, that have vested interest here, whether it's homes or businesses, actually care a lot about the future of our city and the direction of where we're going. So if anything, maybe they're just really, they care a lot about where we're going. So maybe that's where the hesitancy is to like right away adopt like a, you know, something that we're known for. Like we want to be known for something great. All right, everybody, that is going to about wrap up this video. I hope that you've enjoyed this and found some value from it. Now, if you want to check out more about what Colorado Springs has to offer, or see what type of gear that I use when I shoot these videos, I've placed a ton of links down below in the description as a resource for you. Also, before you leave, do me a huge favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you never miss out. And as always, my friends, stay creative. Mark out.